So if you want to win one express supply pass or one nameless honor, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. As I'm hitting 1,000 subscribers, I will give away one of each of those items, probably live on stream, maybe also on YouTube. For one of the upcoming banners, it could be Embittered Lune, it could be Fushuan, but it also could be Jingliu or Tupasu, newly got leaked by the Honkai Star Rail Twitter. So definitely make sure, as waiting 1,000 subscribers, I will give away one of each of those items. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the topic of today's video. But before we hop into the topic of today's video, I definitely want to make sure to point you guys to my YouTube short section, which is the content that I'm currently mainly focusing on. I try to put out a video there every day, so make sure to check out my YouTube short section. Yeah, support me there, subscribe to the channel and stuff. And yeah, okay, let's now get into the topic of the video. So there is a tier list update for Kafka. She's finally out for a week. I wanted to actually make that video on the day where Kafka released the tier list video live on stream, but Luca wasn't on this list, and I was waiting for Luca to be on this list to update. Also, I was away because I was visiting my parents and stuff, but now I'm back, and let's take a look at this tier list. Yeah, there are not much changes, so let's maybe just go quickly to the changelog. So it happens. Okay, this is a small mistake. It is probably the 13th of August, because as you can see here, this is the 9th of August. Kafka was added to the tier list right on the release date, and Luca is on the 13th of 8. He was added to this tier list, and this is like probably 3 days old, so not too far away that Luca has been added to this tier list, because I'm recording this video on the 16th of August. All right. Let's get into the tier list. As always, we have the three categories: damage dealers, where destruction, now nihility, and erudition characters all included into this category. Did I say hunt? Hunt, destruction, erudition, and probably nihility characters. For offensive supporters and def buffers, there are only harmony and nihility characters, and for defensive supporters, there are preservation and abundance characters. I only want to talk about the major changes that happened to the tier list that aren't that much changes overall, because I already did one tier list update when Blade released, so definitely make sure to check that out. On this tier list update, I did go over every unit probably, because there was a lot of changes happening. Not so much for this tier list, so I will try to do the tier list update as often as possible, because I'll do it on pridewin.gg. I will always wait for their updates. I do think that they are a very reliant source, and I probably mostly agree with them always. Like, at least 80 to 90% I do agree with their choices on the tier list. That's why I'm using their website. So yeah, but the link for the website is in the description down below. All right, so as we already did see in the changelog, there was probably one change for Seele that they did made, and that is changing S plus to S tier in the AoE scenario. So as you guys might not know, every character has like 3 scenarios. They have a general tier, which is the average between single target and multi-target, and then they have single target and multi-target scenarios as a category. And yeah, they put down Seele to S because she was S plus before. And what they're saying here is, with the release of Kafka and Blade, and also partially because of Jingyan, it's finally time for Seele to lose her S plus rating in AoE. While she is still great at dealing with trash, the new additions to the game can simply do it better. Yeah, I think I can live with that, definitely, though. I still do believe Seele is the best unit in the game, even with the release of Kafka, even with Blade. There could be people that have another opinion, but I do share the opinion from pridewin.gg, as I already said, and I still think Seele is the best unit in the game. Probably that could change in a couple of patches. Then maybe Luocha will become the best unit in the game, in my opinion, or maybe Fushuan, potentially, because she is a preservation character, a defensive character, and I do think more likely that defensive characters will, in my opinion, become the spots on the top tier characters rather than the DPS characters, because they will rotate more as there are new characters in the game. But if we get new healers, new preservation characters, the old characters are still usable, because you will still splash them in every team, while your DPS will always change according to the content that you want to clear. And yeah, that's why I do believe that that could happen in the future. But for now, for patch 1.3 that we're already in, or I do believe that Seele is still the best. And I can agree that she is now worse in AoE situations, because I do definitely believe Kafka is very, very good in AoE situations as it is for Blade. Yeah. So let's talk about those two units, because this is a debate. They're on the same patch. Pretty much they're on the same tier as the place for Kafka. I definitely do think that she belongs into the S tier. I don't think that she belongs into the S plus tier, because I still think she's a very solid unit, a very good unit. She is above average, definitely, but I don't think that she's like in the top tier category. So don't get me wrong, I am a Kafka fan. She's literally, besides Bronya, she's my favorite unit in the game. Like, I think for a lot of people, she will be the same, but I try to be as objective as possible and very critical to every unit. And therefore, in my opinion, I do believe that Kafka is a little worse than Blade. Not in terms of damage, because I'm not only looking into damage. If I look into a unit, I want to see how the unit functions in the team. I want to see the scenarios, and yeah, like other aspects that are important. So if I compare them to each other directly, I'd still say Blade is slightly better as the unit in general, not in terms of damage. In terms of damage, the ceiling from Kafka, I do think, is higher than the one from Blade. But Blade, pretty much you just splash him into a team and he works. Of course, he works, and his ceiling in working, he works better the better units you have, of course. If you have 5-star units like Bronya, if you have a 5-star unit like Luca, definitely he will get a lot better. But you will have to have those premium units. If you don't have those premium units, Blade is still a very insanely good unit, no matter what. You just splash him to the team, he will do everything. He still does everything that he does. With Bronya, you only can enhance his damage, and with Luca, you will like get his HP back that he loses from using it. But he still has like a heal, so he is self-sustaining, and he pretty much is skill point neutral. And I think skill point efficiency is a very, very, very important thing. I think that's like one of the most important things that a unit can have. And this is also the edge that Blade has over Kafka. And Kafka is by no means a skill point neutral unit. She is always skill point negative, because you always want to use your E, you always want to use your ultimate. You mostly never want to auto attack with Kafka, because she has a follow-up attack that comes if another unit in the game auto attacks, and you mainly only want to use her auto attacks over a follow-up attack, and usually you never use her auto attack at all. And that's why I do think that that is really the place for her. Another disadvantage on Kafka is that she really needs a setup team. So you cannot splash her in any team and she will work. You probably have to pair her with at least one more Nihility character that has a dot, which is probably Sampo or Luca. Or you could pair her with Serval, who is, an erudition character, but she can extend the shock, which is a dot duration. So basically you want to pair her at least with one of those. Maybe 2 of those if you want to, but I think you only really need 1 more Nihility character. So most of the people do pair her with a 3 Nihility team, so including herself. You mostly play in 3 Nihility team, and then Luca or Natasha as the healers, maybe Bailu if you have her, and then you're good to go. But in my opinion, I do think it is like better to pair her with 1 more dot character, 1 healer, and then maybe a debuffer like Pella or Silverwolf. Or maybe Asta as the only really harmony character that works with her. So, this is not a disadvantage. Kafka only works with specific characters, while Blade really pretty much works with a lot more characters. He's a lot more splashable than Kafka, and this is like the edge. Blade gives more utility, he gives you more flexibility. He has still an insane amount of damage, but Kafka is overall, in terms of damage, I think she's a little better with Blade if she has the right setup. But I think this is a disadvantage, because you have to at least put on 3 more units, at least 2 more units that you wouldn't do with Blade, because usually you pair Blade with units that you already used before, while with Kafka, I currently have the problem that I have to upgrade other units to make it work. And I currently use Kafka a lot. I'll try to mess around with different builds. Maybe I could show you them before Kafka's banner is off, but I cannot promise you anything because I'm free to play, so it takes me quite some time to get the resources done. Alright, that's enough for the S tier. So next is basically the A tier. Nothing changed here. I'm still unsure if I like Jinquei here, even though I use her and I think her damage is insane. But I don't really like the fact that she's a little RNG reliant because you always have to roll for the 4 cards. This is like your biggest disadvantage, but if you hit the 4 cards, he does an insanely good amount of damage. But I don't know if I think that she's on the same level as these characters. Still, though, I'm still very critical to that, but I think overall I can accept this. So yeah, this was the addition. Luca was added into the B tier, which I do think is very fair because I think he has to be on the same level like Serval and Sampo. And they're all free. They're literally the 3 units that are on Kafka's banner and literally the 3 main units that you want to use alongside with her. So one of these units you want to pair with Kafka, or at least one of these units. So I still don't really know why Luca is a nihility character, because I see him more as a destruction character, because he hasn't that much dot application. Still though, his dot application is really good for Kafka because physical has a percentual damage, and I do really think that this really benefits Kafka. So if you only pair Luca with Kafka, that's still enough. I kind of underestimated that, and his damage is also very decent. I didn't build him yet, but I use him on other accounts quite a bit, and I am very convinced by him, but I currently don't have the resources to build him because I currently want to build Sampo, mainly because of the type advantage of the wind element. Serval, I already did build a bit before. As I already mentioned, I still think this, I'm on the same opinion. I don't really like to play 2 lightning characters in one team, even though she can extend the shock for 2 more turns, which I do really like overall. So yeah, I really can see all these units being in this tier. I think it's really fair. Same goes for Himiko. But yeah, I'm not too sure why Danheng is here, because the only thing I think is Danheng and Jinquei could be like on the same level in terms of damage. I could be wrong on that, but that's like maybe my opinion, that Danheng and Jinquei are on the same level of damage, and these 6 characters in terms of utility, in terms of damage, I think they're on par on the same level. Same goes with these units, pretty much nothing changed here. Same goes with Bronya, Silverwolf. They won't get power creep too soon. They're still very insane units. Now that I have Kafka, I wish I would have Silverwolf, because I do think Kafka doesn't go that well with Bronya, except if you want to go for the crit build, which I don't really think that you should do it. If you want to go for the crit build, play Jingyeon, play another unit, play Serval. But if you have Kafka, definitely don't go for the crit build, in my opinion. These are very good units. These low chest still very broken. By now, the most efficient units in terms for skill point efficiency in the game right now. These are also didn't change. Yeah, that's already the changes. I think there's not much more to talk about, because I don't think that Kafka and Luca did bring any power creep into the game, except for the AoE scenario on Seele. The power creep happened when Blade got into the game, and now Kafka and Luca just filled the places with the power creep of Blade. Maybe a power creep will happen in the next patch already, because we will get a new DPS and a new tank. And then we'll get 2 more DPSs in the patch afterwards. Yeah, that's it for today's video. Still very long, but I hope you guys did still enjoy. See you guys next time. Bye.